Hi guys, welcome to Cake Talk. Sorry, I am a little bit late because I'm actually filming and I got really into caking, and then I looked up at the time and realized it was time for Cake Talk. So thanks for being here. First of all, I want to say that today is actually chocolate chip cookie day. What a heavenly day. And you guys probably already watched my cake that came out on Tuesday, which was my chocolate chip cookie mega cake to celebrate this day. I wish I still had that cake because I would really eat a slice right now. I need it. I need the energy. It would be such a good breakfast. And besides that, it was super, super delicious. I hope you guys liked that video and liked seeing my friend Derek in that video. I had a lot of fun on that day. Also, if you were a part of Camp Cake, then I want to remind you that you have a promo code for a Camp Cake t-shirt, and it's on the secret Facebook page right now. So for those of you who don't know that, it is there. Okay, so let's get into some questions. This is from Joe Sperduto on Instagram. Modeling chocolate or fondant, which do you prefer? I prefer fondant. Don't get me wrong, modeling chocolate is good for a lot of things, but fondant I like because, first of all, it has a white base. So when you color it, it takes colors much better, whereas modeling chocolate is the color of white chocolate. So also, modeling chocolate is good when what did I use it on? Turkey cake, when I had to do the bones. I thought it was perfect for that. And you can also alter the consistency of modeling chocolate really easily. If you want it to be harder, you can add a bit more chocolate, or softer, add a bit less chocolate. If you know what you're going to use it for. Like when I used modeling chocolate for my poutine cake, I put less chocolate, so it'd be softer like a cheese curd. So they're both great, but overall, I definitely use more fondant. Okay, this is from Alyssa Chewink _9 on Instagram. What is the hardest part of baking and decorating a cake? Wow. Hands down, the hardest part in the types of cakes that I make especially is that nobody really ever gets how long it takes. It's very hard to explain to people, and unless you do this for a living, you don't really get it. Even when I first started, I would always underestimate how long it would take me and all the different factors that would affect my cake decorating, like weather, for example. It takes so long, and that's really hard when you do this as a business and you have to charge people because they never understand that. And then in the YouTube space, it's hard because, you know, I get a lot of requests, make do more than one video a week, and it's just absolutely not possible because even the filming time before we even edit it and make the video look all pretty, it's so much time altogether that by the time we're done one, we're on to making the next one, and there's only one a week. So next, okay, this is from Cawfarm37 on Instagram. How many layers can a cake hold up without dowels supporting it? The general rule of thumb with dowels is depending on how tall your cake is, every 4 to 6 inches of height of cake, there should be dowels. So in a wedding cake, it's very simple because if each tier is, you know, 3 or 4 inches tall or 5 inches tall or whatever, then every single cake would have dowels to support the next cake. So that's a lot easier to explain. With a novelty cake, it just totally depends on the shape, how much weight. Is it top heavy? Is it bottom heavy? Is there more weight to one side, depending on the structure? So that's the general rule of thumb. And like when I did the pineapple cake, I really didn't want to put dowels because I wanted to be able to cut a whole slice. And if you could have seen it after, it was like it just starts sinking basically because that's a lot of weight, and the pineapple especially had a topper. So if I had wanted to make that cake, you know, for an occasion that let's say was the next day, I would have had no choice, and I would have absolutely put the dowels in because I wouldn't be able to stop it from sinking. Okay, so the next question is from Brid Soko on Instagram. What is your main hobby other than baking? Wow. Currently, it's hanging out with my son. I also really like making photo books because I take a lot of pictures. When I travel, I take a lot of pictures. And then now that I have a kid, I take so many pictures of him. So I love to like organize them and make photo books because I just think memories are so important. And I find when you print it in a book, you look at it so much more than if it's on your computer screen. Okay. Ba, ba, ba. Okay. Here's a, oh wow, this is from Joanna Joseph. Hello, Joanna, you are always here. At what time in your recent past have you felt the most passionate and alive? Wow. Um, Probably like when I had my son, when I gave birth. That's pretty hard to ignore. That's a pretty big thing. Um, Also, I felt really passionate and alive when I went this year in May to the YouTube Creator Summit. There's something about being in a room with all those other YouTubers and all that energy. It was really, really cool. And I learned a lot about YouTube that I didn't even know and met a lot of other interesting creators. And it was really, really cool to be in a room with people who do what I do, but do it in all different ways. I found that very, very inspiring. Okay, next. Let's see. Hi, Yolanda. This is from Tommy Wan. Hi, Yolanda. How will you react if Beyonce bakes a cake with me like this? I probably wouldn't even be able to bake with Beyonce. And to be honest, I don't know if I want to bake with Beyonce. I just want her to put on like a concert just for me and my friends. And I'll bake her whatever she wants. That's the deal. Okay, so next, okay, here we go. This is from KC Kyle. Hi, Yolanda. I found out about your channel when you made the emoji cakes and have since watched every video. My question to you is, what advice would you give to someone who is attempting to make baking videos for YouTube? This advice would be great. Okay. Well, my best advice would be to be yourself and to bake what you want and what makes you happy, because this is very hard work despite the way it looks. It's a lot of time and effort. So I find that when you're passionate about something, you will put in that time and effort. Whereas if you're doing it because you think maybe they'll like this or maybe they'll like that, and not putting you into it, you might sort of lose that drive sooner. So that's my biggest piece of advice. Okay, next. Okay, this is for, oh, this is just, hi from Ann Arbor, Michigan, USA. Hello, Taylor. Thanks for saying hi. Okay, let's see what's, okay, let's go back to all our Instagram questions because there's a ton. This is from Nishta Amelia on Instagram. Can you remember your recipes by heart? Yes, but I always follow them because I have different measurements. Even if you go to howtocakeit.com and you see my recipes, they're all there. So like this week I did the chocolate chip mega cake video, and then if you go to my howtocakeit.com, there's a blog about the chocolate chip mega cake, and it breaks down how I made everything and all the steps. So, and if you see my cake recipes on the blog, like my signature cakes, like my chocolate and vanilla, I have them in a chart listed by how many pounds of batter you need. So I remember the recipes and the ingredients, but I always make sure to follow it, because what if I remember like the 4-pound amount of flour, but the 6-pound amount of baking powder? Then that won't be good. So I always have them in front of me in my kitchen. I have them laminated so I don't get them messy. And I always make sure to read, because when you mismeasure, like I did in Half Birthday, things go wrong and you're not really able to tell why. Okay. Okay, here we go. This is from, okay. Wow, there's so many. There's no way I can like get through all of this. Oh, here we go. This is an interesting question. This is from underscore P19 underscore on Instagram. What was your first thought about YouTube? Well, my first thought about YouTube initially was I only ever used YouTube to like search for something that I had missed out on. So like if I heard Jimmy Fallon did something funny on his show, I think, okay, I'm going to go on YouTube and like watch what he did because everyone's talking about it. And so that was always my thought of YouTube. Or if I wanted to see like a music video, I would go see it. And I had no idea the endless possibilities and what was already living on YouTube, because I guess it's just my generation and I was like a TV generation. But now I know so much more about YouTube, and I just think it's so cool because I think it's the new TV. I think for the viewer, it's amazing because whatever you are interested in, it is probably on YouTube and you can find it. And I think for the creator, it's really interesting because whatever you're into or whatever you want to put out there, you can, and you can do it in exactly the way that you want to. And there will be people who watch. And that's just such an amazing thought to me, because with TV, it's like, it's being viewed by a specific group of people, like usually a country. But with YouTube, it's worldwide. So I can't tell you how many times I get messages from people and they tell me where they're from, and I'm like, wow, how are they watching me? Because it just blows my mind. But yeah, that's my best. These are my thoughts on YouTube and how they have evolved. Okay. Next, this is from Rihanna_holiday. How long does simple syrup last? You inspire me so much to bake. Thank you. I'm glad that I do. Simple syrup lasts a very long time. I kind of always have this running batch of simple syrup, so I make it, and if I have any left over, I just pop it in my fridge, and the next time I make it, I reboil that bit into a new batch, because it's really just sugar, so it's going to last for a long time. I do keep it in the fridge. You can also freeze it. Like sometimes if I have leftover and I know I'm going away or it's the Christmas holidays or whatever, you just freeze it. And the same thing, when you make more, you just put that back into the batch and boil a new batch of simple syrup. So it's the one thing that I never really have to waste, which is great. Okay, Agos Bernardi. Hi. Do you recommend crumb pudding cakes with other things other than buttercream, like dulce de leche or ganache? Thank you. I would definitely suggest ganache. A lot of people crumb coat and ice their cakes in ganache under fondant. That's their preferred method. So you can absolutely use ganache. You can also use frosting. Now, dulce de leche is tricky because it's sticky, so it's not really going to. First of all, it might be hard to ice especially if your cake is very soft. It might actually pull away at your cake. And then the other thing is not really going to set, and you kind of need it to set so that you can ice it and there'll be no crumbs. But it will be delicious in a cake or poured on top of a cake. Okay. Oh, here's a good question. This is for Val Portal NYC. When leveling a cake, how do you know when you accidentally cut into the cake making a crater? And if it happens, what do you do to fix that problem? Okay, so I think what you're saying is sometimes when you cut and your knife is angled a bit down, you end up cutting like a bowl out of your cake. That's why I always suggest when you cut to try and see the tip of your knife come out the other end. And if you ever see the way I level, I first level very shallow. I go around and round, and then again until I'm all the way on the inside. And I'm mainly cutting with the middle of the knife. So if this is my knife, I'm mainly cutting the cake here, not here, because it's very hard to feel where this is. And so yes, you can be going down or up for that matter. So I'm trying to hold the knife as straight as possible, cutting in the middle, and then I'm just going around and around and around deeper into the cake until I'm in the center. If you have already done it and you have that little bowl, then flip the hump that you cut off over and cut that piece off and place it back. You can use a little bit of piping gel. Sometimes if the cake is really moist, it will just stick back anyway. But yeah, my suggestion is to just fill it in. Kind of like when I bake a bowl cake and sometimes the sides break away, I use some cake and I fill it in. Okay, next. Oh, this is a great question. This is from Jamuna is my name. When did people start to call you yo? I have no idea because I don't remember a time when nobody called me yo. Everybody calls me yo, my sister, my parents, my family, and now like all the viewers call me yo, which is really funny. Being called yo though does have hazards, because especially in the 90s, because when I'm in public and somebody just yells yo or hey yo, I automatically turn around even though they're not calling me. But I can't remember a time when nobody called me yo. So next question. This is from Carly Waters. How many hours on average do you spend working on a cake like the ones you post? On average, the cakes that I post take about anywhere from 13 to 24 hours. It really just depends. Usually we try to film in one day, so those days end up being like 16 hours. I was actually filming yesterday and was supposed to finish the cake and couldn't. I got to like 11 p.m. and I was just so tired, and I thought to myself, I'm gonna ruin this cake. I'm gonna poke it, I'm gonna drop something, because I was so tired. Especially when you get to the little decorations, that's when you need the most focus, and that's very hard to do when you're tired. So that's how long they take, and that's really hard, because I have also known a lot of people who have been like, oh, I want to be a cake decorator, and then when they do it and they see how long it takes, they can't handle it, because it really does take longer than anyone can imagine. And you have to be patient, and you need to like get used to trying to do everything right to get to the end, not rushing just to get to the end. Okay. Okay, here we go. Oh, this is from Brianna Minbun. Hey, yo, I was wondering how many cake pans you own. Seems like you have a lot. Yeah, I have about 80 cake pans, and oddly enough, there's some more that I want. I have a couple of sizes I don't have. Most of my cake pans I have 4 of. Some of them I only have 2 of, and now I think I need to have 4 of those, because I use a lot of cake pans, and sometimes if I don't have enough of the same size, I have to bake, wait for the cake to cool, take it out, wash the pan, bake again. So yeah, I think I actually need more than 80. I can't even believe I'm saying that. But yes, but I didn't buy them all at once. I gathered them over the years as I went. This is from KML_Pix_22. Does gum paste taste good? Yeah, it tastes sweet. Gum paste tastes sweet. I mean, and most of the time I've only tried gum paste already hardened, because that's what I use it for, usually to make things that I need to dry, like letters or little accessories like a ruler and pencil on my back to school cake. Yeah, it just tastes sweet. It is brittle, if you know what I mean. But it just tastes sweet. It doesn't really have a flavor. It's actually less, I find it a little less sweet than fondant, to be honest. Okay, so next. This is from the Cookie Nerd. Oh, today's your day, Cookie Nerd. From Southern Ontario. Woohoo! Lady, how do you deal with the humidity and fondant? I know. Lady, you're telling me. That's why I had to stop making the cake yesterday and continue today, because of humidity. And the cake that I'm making has black fondant on it, which is like so hard. It's so hard, especially where we live, you know, it's like winter and humid. That's it. Those are the seasons. And humidity is really, really, really difficult, and it makes cake decorating extremely difficult and a lot slower than it already is. My cakes sweat like crazy when I take them out of the fridge. Yes, I have a special fridge. I had my fridge altered so that it's not humid inside, it's cold. But not humid. And before I had this fridge, I used to use a household fridge and have it at the lowest setting, and all I would put in it were my cakes. But yeah, it's really tough. But even now, I do experience some sweating because it is just that humid. So I guess when summer comes, I just try to pace myself and know they're going to take longer than they normally do, because I have to keep sticking them back in the fridge. And it's so frustrating. I know, I'm with you, Southern Ontario, the Cookie Nerd. Happy Chocolate Chip Cookie Day. This is from Margot Helen Helft. Do you ever feel sad or reluctant to cut into one of your beautiful creations? No, not really. I feel, I mean, it's cake. It's meant to be eaten. That's what cake is for. It's celebratory. I also feel very strongly about cutting into it on the show to show you, you know, I didn't cheat halfway and throw styrofoam inside. And I think people also believe that when a cake looks a certain way, it can't possibly taste good. I want to sort of end that belief. Yes, there are still restrictions when making a novelty cake, so I can't make a strawberry shortcake in the shape of a shark because it will fall apart. And that's why I love making my mega cakes. I love cutting into my mega cakes. Every single time I make one of those cakes, I can't wait to eat it. Like when I did key lime and mega chocolate chip, I was all over that. Oh, and the breakfast mega cake, I can't wait to cut those cakes, because those cakes smell so good the entire time I'm putting it together. because they're exposed, right? So I can smell everything and I just want to eat it. With the novelty cakes, I want to cut it like I said, to show you there's cake inside, there's buttercream, there's goodness. It's not just this structure that you shouldn't touch. You should enjoy it. Okay. Okay, how about I answer some of the questions? Oh, this is a great question. This is from Luke James. Hi, yo, quick question. What does cookie butter taste like? I know, random. It's not random. I wondered the very same thing. Actually, when I made my mega chocolate chip cookie cake, that was the first time I ever had tasted cookie butter. And to be honest, there's one brand in particular that is the original cookie butter. It's from Belgium, and I can't get that where I live. Boo. So I still want to taste that, but I tasted a local brand of cookie butter, and it's really good. It's really interesting because it has the almost the exact consistency of peanut butter, and it's almost the same color as peanut butter. So when you eat it, you think this is going to be peanut butter, but then it's not. And it's so interesting because it tastes like a caramelized biscuit with a little bit of spice, not like gingerbread. But there's something there. There's a really nice flavor. I loved it. And I loved cookie butter buttercream. That was like next level because the buttercream just lightened it, but the flavor was still there. It was so good. I highly recommend trying it. Put it in a chocolate chip mega cake or make chocolate chip cookies and dip it into cookie butter buttercream. You will have a blast. Okay. Next. Oh. I feel like I'm still learning how to use this. Okay. Oh, I am still learning. Why isn't this? Oh, thank you very much. Okay. Okay. So let's see a question that nobody. Okay, here we go. This question is like on the screen 5 times. What do you do? This is from Bailey's Corner. What do you do with your cakes? Eat them or give them away? I do both. I always eat a slice. Usually Sasha has some, Jocelyn has some, whoever is here has some. And then I give them away. Sometimes Jocelyn's dad takes it. I've given some to my father-in-law to take to his office. I take it home and give it to my neighbors. I give it away. No, there's never anybody who's like, no, I really don't want any chocolate chip cookie mega cake. Please get this away from me. Cake is really easy to give away. It's like money, I think. Okay, next question. This is from Jeanette Becker. What means lowest setting on the fridge? Low temperature or high? No, every fridge is different. So I know in my household fridge, I got to think about this. There's a dial at the top that goes from like 1 to 7. So I would put it to 1, meaning it's the lowest. It's not the coldest because the coldest means the more humid it is in the fridge. So it's the, I don't want to say warmest because it doesn't make your fridge warm, but it is not the coldest. So it's just making it cool. And that sort of keeps the humidity away. The colder it is and the more the fan blows in the fridge, the more humid it is and the more your cake will sweat. So in my fridge, it's a number. It's not a temperature. Like I don't know what temperature it is, but I put it on the lowest number. So I hope that's helpful. Okay. Here we go. Why can't I use the side of the screen? Okay. Oh, this is a good question from Tommy 1. What color paste should I always have? That's hard to answer because a lot of them are good for different things. I love ivory. I'm a huge fan of ivory because, well, you could turn white ivory. You can also use it to dull other colors. You can also use it to paint on top of a cake and just make the color a little bit richer. I'm a big fan of ivory because I use it a lot to alter other colors. And then with the other colors, it just depends what cakes you make the most. I always try to have the darker colors like red and black and stuff like that because they take a lot to color something. So I try to have more of those than I would like yellow, which colors very easily. I have a whole slew of food coloring. I just bought some new food coloring that I've never tried because there was 4 colors that I've never used. So I really want to try them. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Oh, it's time to go. So I'm going to ask, answer. I'm not going to ask. I'm going to answer one more question. Let's see. This is actually an excellent question. This is from Melanie Marinucci on Facebook. Is it always assumed that you will bring cake to the party? Wait, that you will bring the cake to the party just because you make cakes? Do you feel obligated to always bring one? I used to. I used to love doing it. Like I would always bring a cake to the party. I actually would, what I love to do with all my cake humps that are scraps is I'll take a cutter and cut them nicely, and then I'll make a little cake out of cake scraps, or I'll make little mini cakes like petit fours out of cake scraps rather than making cupcakes. So I would always bring cake or some form of cake, but in recent years that has stopped. Number one, because I had a child and I literally never had any extra time. And now because YouTube just takes so much time. So if I happen to go to a party or to a family gathering, you know, right after we have filmed a cake, then I'll be happy to bring that. It will just have a slice missing, but nobody seems to mind. But yeah, it's actually really hard because I've felt a lot of guilt over that in recent years because I really just don't have the time. I just don't have the time, and I want to have the time. Even this year when my son turned 2, I didn't make him a novelty cake because I had no time. And I just made him a little round cake. And my excuse to myself was he's not even old enough to remember this. But I know when he gets older, I'm going to want to make him the best cakes. So yeah, there you have it. Okay, I have to get back to work because I'm supposed to go to a party tonight. So I have to finish in order to the party. And I think I can bring this cake, except it's huge. I don't know how to bring this cake on a boat. I got to think about that. But thanks for joining me. And one last thing, my spatula duo is almost sold out at howtocakeit.com. So if you want to click one up, you can at howtocakeit.com. They're very helpful. I use them in every single video. I use spatulas every day. Spatulas. I should just bring spatulas to a party and everybody could do the crumb coat and chill dance. I think I'm going to do that. That won't piss anyone off, will it? Thanks for being here. Bye.